Executive, NKC Karur and Nurture Talent Academy, New Delhi. In this connection, they have received a shield for being one of the best colleges in hosting this program for training a student team to reach the pre-finals of the business plan preparation competition held worldwide. He has also been communicating with the textile buyers abroad and with their buying houses in Delhi on various trends and fashion requirements. He has also worked in a reputed and one of the biggest pharma companies in India, SOL Pharma, where he had worked as a management trainee, as a product executive, and a business development manager. He has participated and presented papers at various conferences. He has also organized various programs, and I shouldn't forget to mention that he has developed a technique to improve the communication for management students through spontaneous idea, concept, play-based on converting thoughts into words continuously. We are happy to have you with us, sir. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, all, and thank you for that wonderful explanation about me, though I don't know whether I need that or not, Miss Aruna. And let me first thank my very close friend, Dr. Asharuddin. He was very much particular in bringing me here to meet and address you about the thoughts and ideas I have. Okay, and may I know whether I'm audible or not? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, very much audible, sir.
Yes, please. Yeah, thanks a lot. So I thought of sharing some of my ideas which I do practice here in the Department of Social Entrepreneurship here at Madras School of Social Work, because we thought like these ideas are to be shared across with most of the people so that in future we would build a strong society. Okay. To start with, let me ask you a small question. What do you mean by innovation? We come across this this term frequently. Some of us also know about this. We have studied about this. We have applied about this. A lot of things happen. So let me ask this basic question. What do we understand by innovation? And shall I start sharing my screen as well?
Yes, sir.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So let me share my thoughts about the social innovation for this day. Okay. To start with, I have structured it this way. Is the next slide available? Is it visible?
No, sir. It's still on the first slide.
Yes. 1 minute.
Yes,
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Now it's on the second slide.
Fine. Yeah. So this is how I have planned the presentation today. Let us have a small conceptual take, and post that I will not spend much of the time in explaining you the concept. Hopefully you should be knowing it. So post that we'll have a few illustrations, and then if time permits, we'll come for discussion. Okay. So to start with, what do we understand by innovation? Any suggestions? You could well be.
I think one Mr. Alan Abraham, he has put down in the chat box, innovation is something new and thought-provoking.
Great answer. Fine. So we live with our innovative thoughts. We live with changes. Okay. With that note, let me ask you this question. Is innovation the one that matches the change, or it matches the preference? You can go through this. Which one is more suitable to explain innovation? And what do you mean by innovation in the common life sense? And is it that we innovate to match the change that happens around us? Or is it that we innovate to match the preference that we have or the development that happens, or it is that which is done to match our aspirations? Of course, all these things are equally, I don't say equally, all these things are connected with innovation, and we do innovation to match all these things. Which one is more suitable? Could someone Tell me, and why it is so? Of course, I tell you, see, you live in a society and you live in a place wherein you get a natural disaster like tsunami, or it is like you get huge rainfall, due to which you need to change your lifestyle. And for changing that lifestyle, you innovate certain things, right? That happens because you need to match the change. Fine. And does that constitute innovation? Any idea? Fine. Yeah, I take it this way, like you would say that it matches change and that we can call that as innovation. Yes, you can call that as innovation. How about preference? In most of the cases, due to change, we have choices. And how do we choose the one that we are interested in? We choose the one that we are interested in by changing certain things to match the interest, and then we balance it and we take it as the best one to achieve it. That is why we call that as matching the preference. When we come to different development, development happens haphazardly, continuously, planned, else otherwise as well. But how do we say that we take the change as per our interest and match it by the development, match it by the new product that's invented to match the development? It is through innovation, because only innovation will explain us to match the requirement that we want to achieve. Okay. Now coming to aspirations, which I would say, to my presumption, is the main topic here, because it's only based on aspirations we do innovate. And if you innovate for your aspirations, it will balance all the changes, all the matchings based on change, preference, and development. So I would say aspirations are the core requirement for which we do innovate, right? This is what my presumption is. Of course, all these concepts that come under social innovation are all relative. You cannot predict that this is why you call this as innovation and so forth. It all applies and depends on the mindset, on our psyche. Okay. With this brief, let me ask you a question. What do you understand by this picture? What do you understand by this picture? And what is the innovation here? May I have one or two, may I have one response at least?
Yes, Ms. Richa Sharma, I think you raised your hand.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Sir, by looking at the picture on the right side, I feel that it is preferred in India to have a cup of tea with biscuits. So the kind of innovation that has been done with this cup is quite maybe say according to the preference of the people, and simultaneously it suits the society in which this is being added. So maybe that.
Exactly. How about the picture on your left?
Yes, sir. So the picture on the left, sir, I'm sorry, I'm not able to get exactly, but maybe, sir, that is a virtual kind of like when it is maybe our assumption that when we are opening our hands, we have a mobile in it. I am not sure about it, sir, but sorry, sir, I'm not sure about that.
Great. Thanks for the response. So I see this as a material innovation wherein a mobile phone is produced which is virtually transparent, literally transparent, and it is appealing, it is attractive, and that is the reason why it is being produced by Apple. Maybe in few years we might have this as well. Okay, it is in the research stage. And when you discuss about when you come to the picture on your right, it says there is a provision in the cup to hold the biscuits. Fine. This is obviously innovation, I would say so. Okay, but do we need this innovation? Is another question. Generally, what happens is we have preferences, we have choice, we have aspirations. We innovate to match them. But shall we say, or is it good to say, or is it right to say that all we innovate to match our preferences or aspirations are all actually required for our well-being? You cannot say so. Suppose if this provision isn't there, we could use a plate to hold the biscuits, and the importance of having this kind of a setup to hold the biscuits in the teacup, I don't know whether that is actually warranted. And of course, when you come to this mobile phone, having a mobile phone which is transparent may or may not be good, because a transparent mobile phone will also interfere when you look at and when you read the messages that you want to go through in your mobile phone. So innovations are there, but how far they actually meet our requirement. And if there is an innovation that doesn't match our requirement, actually, we could say that the innovation is not apt for the society. Is that what we mean? That's what we would obviously say. And when that happens, maybe we say that the innovation is a failure, right? We haven't gone into social innovation. We are into innovation, right? Now see this picture. Obviously an innovative product wherein a shoe can also be used as a slipper. This is an innovation. Anybody will be happy to purchase one product wherein they can have the application of two, right? Obviously, but do we need this? Or would this product be able to find a better market if it is produced? This is a failure model. You know why? In the research stage, they got the input that if the same product can act as both slippers and shoes, it will be a good market for them to find a niche wherein a group of people who would want to prefer both shoes and slippers in the same product would be interested to purchase. But actually when they produced it, that niche, the size of the niche was very small that they were not able to sell it to those people also completely. Then the feedback, through the feedback, they understood that they aren't interested in purchasing one product and use it both the ways. It became a failure. I would say an innovation was not able to match the aspiration, and that it became a failure, right? Now see this example. What is this? On the right side, you make bread sandwich and sandwich with omelette, egg sandwich. Okay. Now this machine was made after various surveys and various understanding the aspirations and then the preferences of public, and this became a very successful product. And presently you have a lot of successful brands which produce this product, and they are there in various segments, attracting various segments of the population. Some are sold at very huge prices, getting a huge margin, whereas some are sold at a nominal price. Okay, so this innovation I would call a successful one because this actually meets the people's requirement. It saves their time to produce a product, a food. Okay, so what do you understand by these pictures? Because these pictures, they all relate to innovation. Some are good, some are bad, though if not bad, they don't meet the actual requirement. In that case, how do we call that innovation as? We invest time, we invest money, we produce a product, and if that doesn't match the requirement, we obviously call that as a failure, right? So obviously any innovation should match the requirement and see that it reaches the public and that is being used continuously. That is what any innovation should aim at. And when that is achieved, we call that as a successful innovation, right? Fine. We discussed a few things about innovation. Let us come back. Let us get into our exact subject. What do you mean by social innovation? Any idea? Any idea about this?
Yes, Ms. Richa.
Sir, with the term, if we dissociate the term social and innovation, maybe it represents something which would be any creativity, any kind of new contribution that would lead in overall development of the society, as in not just from technological perspective, but also from the perspective of in total development of humanity. For example, the small ecosystem that has been built in the glass bulb on the picture that has been put up on the screen, that is also a kind of a innovation. So anything that brings about a change, positive change most likely, and results in a societal development, I would rather call that a social innovation.
Yes. What is your name? What is your name?
Richa. Richa.
Fine, fine. It was an excellent answer. You made my job easy.
So I think Dr. Malana also has raised
Yep.
ma'am's hand. Yes,
Yep.
Dr. Malana?
Yeah, good day again. So very informative session. Thank you. So I think innovation is a time, money, and energy saver. So, and it always comes from the need. So with each development, we need new inventions, and these lead to social innovations.
Obviously, you have also supported the previous explanation. Exactly, that is what I mean, and that is what I wanted to share. Okay, let me, thanks. Let me, start from this, like, what do you understand by society? Like, as you have come out with the exact answer, let me tell you this. See, if you take a place, you take a village, there are people, there are institutions that support their survival, their well-being, their happy life. Now you have a post office, you have a police station, you have a school, you have a well, you have a field, you have a factory. I mean, people are there in all of these places, and in all of these places they have different roles, and there is interlinking, there is connection between the roles, and with these roles they function as people inside a village. Now if you have a network of these relationships, we can have a chart, a framework, and that framework is what we mean by a society, right? Hope I'm clear. Now in this framework, which we see as a society, there is supposed to be a harmony. What do you mean by harmony? There should be rhythm between the functioning of various roles. Suppose if there is a police station, they need to have cases. And if there are cases, then that means that there is a little problem in the society, in the framework, in any other relationship or a role. And that needs to be rectified. And for that, we have a school or any counseling center. So some rhythm will be spoiled, and there should be some other institution to rectify the issue. And when that happens, we again see that the society resorts back to the normal rhythm, the normal living, wherein again the network goes well. And similarly, again, there will be an issue. Am I clear? So what happens is, due to these issues, there is a small disturbance in the framework, and we make changes so that disturbance is rectified, right? So I would call that as a society, and the issue as the one that disturbs the rhythm, and that calls for the need to solve the issue. When that is solved, you get a solution. And what you do to get a solution is what I mean by social innovation. Obviously, this is the same that was explained by Richa and another participant. Am I clear? Do I make sense?
Yes, sir.
Right. Let me come here. Since we discussed about what social innovation is, let me also ask you these questions. Is this something like you need to work on the issues that are there in a community, or is it something like you can do something in the conservation sphere, or livelihood, or hunger, any other thing? Or is it something like social innovation is related to one or few of these things, or anything that is related to the well-being of the society? Since you have come out with the answer, I would say that you could call social innovation as one that is related, that could be related to any of the issues that crop up in the societal framework, right? Yes, fine. The concept is clear. You understand what is social innovation? Like, why do we need to learn this social innovation, and what is it up to? I thought, like, suppose if I can give you a few illustrations about how social innovation is being done in these areas, because I thought, like, I've mentioned 4 leads, so I thought, like, let me link social innovations separately as illustrations that match up these 4 leads. that might give you a clear understanding of what I exactly mean by social innovation and how it is being done in the society, right? Let me start with my first case, okay? How many of you have heard about miracle couriers? Any idea? Any idea?
Participants?
Yeah, fine. Let me get along. See, let me give a brief about Mr. Dhruv Lakra. So Dhruv Lakra was born in Jammu in an affluent family, and he was studying in a convent, and his parents, they were all entrepreneurs. So they made their son to go to Mumbai for his college education, which he did. Like any other, posh guy who would want to study in a city, he went to Mumbai and he studied there. And post his studies, since he had a good school education, he was able to get a job in an investment firm called Merrill Lynch, which is a multinational corporation. He joined there, and of course he worked there, and he was earning a lot. He's basically from an affluent family, and he was able to get a good job as well. But as years passed by, maybe a few months or 1 or 2 years, he wasn't so happy about the job he was doing. And he thought, like, why the heck am I to do this job and get money? Whereas I think that my calling is something else. Then he thought, like, he resigned the job and he joined an NGO, wherein at that time tsunami happened in Tamil Nadu. And since he's joined an NGO called, the name of the NGO is something, I don't remember it, Dasra, yes, Dasra. So he was made to come to Nagapattinam and work there for a few months. After coming here, he understood the plight or the suffering people were undergoing, and he thought, like, he needs to do something to the people. Now you relate to the framework of the society, wherein if you take Nagapattinam, in the framework or in the sketch, there are issues. People suffer. They don't get what they want. So that the rhythm isn't there. So he wanted to understand that, and he wanted to contribute something so that again the rhythm comes back. With all these things in mind, he went back to Mumbai, where he tried to understand the formal way of curing issues. Then he had an idea to study his post-graduation MBA at Syed School of Business there in Oxford. And for that, he wanted to clear a scholarship exam. He cleared that as well. He went to Syed School of Business and did his MBA in social entrepreneurship. When he was studying there, once, like, he was traveling in a bus there in London, and he saw a deaf person sitting in the bus, and he was getting a ticket, wherein the conductor, like, he did not talk to the person. He asked, and the person explained where he wanted to go, and he gave him the ticket. Then he thought, like, how many people are there in the world who are deaf and dumb? That gave him inquisitiveness to understand the concept that is there, which he can work on. When that was there in his mind, like, he was studying and he was thinking about it, and he got a courier once, which came from India, from his parents. So he, like, received the courier, and the courier person went off. Then he realized that there wasn't any communication between the person who gave him the courier and himself who got it. Then he thought, like, why can't he start a courier company employing deaf and dumb people alone? Doesn't it look very new? Can anybody start a courier company with deaf and dumb? Is it possible? Do they not have to travel through the road? He thought about it, and he thought, like, generally people who have an issue will have a compensatory extra capacity in other qualities. So he thought, like, suppose if he could hire deaf and dumb people alone to work in his courier company, won't that be good? And again, he had a lot of, yes. Yeah, so that was there in his mind, and again he had that issue. And, like, when this was about, he was thinking about it, he also understood the idea how would he be able to compete with the general courier companies? You know, we have a lot of multinational courier companies working. You have UPS, you have Blue Dart. How is he going to compete with companies like this? Then he thought, like, initially, when this discussions was there, when this thought was there in his mind, he completed his MBA in social entrepreneurship and he came back to India. He went to Mumbai, and he started approaching few deaf and dumb people, wherein they all refused. They were not interested. They were not able to understand what he spoke. Then somehow he managed to get a deaf and dumb girl by convincing her parents. They were very strict. They said that they cannot send their daughter for a job which involves moving out of the office. How would a deaf and dumb person be able to work in an office in the field? That wasn't possible at all. So initially he took the girl with him, and he approached through clients. He got an opportunity to work with a client who, based on sympathy, gave them an order. He took extra time to complete the order. Then he was able to convince few more deaf and dumb people, and in the due course, in the span of 6 months to 1 year, he was able to manage to develop around 10 deaf and dumb people, and these deaf and dumb people were able to get orders based on sympathy. And slowly he was able to raise the standard of working of the company to work on par with international companies, and presently it competes as one of the best courier companies in the world. Can you understand the innovation he brought in? He wanted to work for a community, the community that is deaf and dumb. He understood that around 30% of Indians suffer from dumbness, suffer from deafness. He wanted to support that community. He created an organization. He made them work there. And he says that they are people with special talents, and they don't work having a lot of aspirations. They work with a lot of aspirations to improve their career, not to improve only their salaries. A very good approach, is it not? So he started this career. Presently, it is one of the successful careers in the world. I have a video I'll play on. It is about this Dhruv Lakra's Miracle Couriers. Let me play the video, and it should be audible. Suppose if it isn't audible, do let me know. Yes. Right? Let me play the video. Is the video visible?
No, sir.
Is it visible?
No, sir.
1 minute. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Can you play it, sir? We'll check if it...
Is it audible? Is it audible?
Yes, sir, it's audible and visible.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
I started Miracle Couriers in January 2009 with a mission to employ low-income deaf youth. With the army of 60 soldiers, we offer excellent service in Mumbai.
Hello, you are preponed to pick up by half an hour. That can be done.
We believe in professionalism and hard work. Respect and appreciation from our clients increases our confidence.
Bain Capital has been associated with Miracle Korea since April last year, and their track record has been good.
At Miracle Korea, we believe in empowering and showing the world what we are capable of. In December 2010, we got the National Award from the President of India for empowering people with disabilities.
Our training is top class. We want them to become more models for all the other people out there who want to join our force.
At Miracle, the idea is to empower them to lead respectable and meaningful lives.
We have 2 branches, 60 people, and 1 million dreams. Medical careers have shown resilience and fortitude. Our work is growing every day. We aim to empower those we employ, companies that are ready to take on tomorrow. Medical careers, delivering possibilities we can.
Okay, so hope you have enjoyed the video, and see, you could also understand that how people who would otherwise remain ignorant there at home would have got, I mean, like they've been given an opportunity where they can improve themselves and then grow their careers. Okay, so I would relate this to social innovation that is to improve a community, right? So let's go to the next lead. Okay. Right. Is the slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the next is one Miss Ishita Khanna. Has anybody read about her? She's very famous. She's a very famous social innovator. You know what she did? Any idea? Right. No. Ishita, she is from Dehradun, and since Dehradun is a hilly terrain, she developed an interest or love to travel around hilly terrains. Okay, and she was very happy child living in a hill station, traveling around hills. And when this was going on, she completed schools and she went to Delhi to study, and she studied sociology. Post which she was interested to study something that is related to hills, but she couldn't find any place where she could do so. And in the meanwhile, she applied to TISS, Tata Institute of Social Science, wherein she was given an opportunity to study rural development. She studied there, and as a part of the internship, which we often do here at Madras School, she there at TISS went to Gangotri. You know what is Gangotri? It is a pilgrimage. It is a pilgrimage center. After going there, she studied about the issues, the number of pilgrims coming there, and then the natural habitat of Gangotri. She understood that Gangotri was about to lose its natural habitat because of a lot of visitors, a lot of pilgrims going there. You know what we as pilgrims or what we tourists as tourists do when we go to a place? We enjoy a place without considering what actually the place requires, what actually people in that place require. Do you understand what I say? Suppose you go to Nilgiris. What do? We go there, we look at the places, we enjoy the tourist spots, we consume food that we want, we litter the place, we come back. Don't we do that? Do I make sense?
Yes, sir.
Obviously we do that. And I don't say that it is a mistake, because we don't have that education. We don't understand that we don't have the right to harm others or harm others' livelihood. See, after going to Nilgiris, if you litter, what is the size of Nilgiris and what is the size of tourists who go there? What if everybody litters, or what if everybody spoils their natural ecosystem? Won't that affect the flora and fauna of the region? Won't that affect the people living in the region? But has anybody have in our life we have thought about it? We didn't. She did. So seeing Gangotri, she wanted to do something to the village or to come something to the hilly terrains, but she didn't know what to do. And when that was there in her mind, she completed her degree and she joined KAPAD, a government, it's a government organization wherein they work with, reconstruction of ecosystems. So that is when she was sent to Spiti. It is a valley in Himachal Pradesh. She went there, and after seeing Spiti, she fell in love with the place. It was very nice, and unlike presently, at that time when she went there, it was untouched by tourism. Nobody knew that there is a valley called Spiti and that it is so much beautiful. See, she went there, and after going there, she thought she understood a lot more can be done to improve the valley further. And she thought she understood that Spiti had rainfall during the season, and since it is a hill station, because of this rainfall, there were a lot of landslides, which we can see in Tamil Nadu as well. In Ooty and Kodaikanal, every year you have landslides, right? This year also it happened. So she wanted to understand why this happens, and is there any provision, is there any method to stop that? Then she understood that Spiti had a special kind of fruit, right? It is called as sea buckthorn. It is called a sea buckthorn. What is that sea buckthorn? It is a native fruit which grows like grass, and it is a grass wherein you get this fruit. She studied about the fruit and she found that when this fruit is grown as a cover in Spiti, this will hold the soil intact. When soil is held intact, the possibility of landslides is very less. When the possibility of landslide is very less, then the issue that is going to be created out of landslides will not be there. People can live a happy life. Am I clear? Do you understand what I say? So she wanted to develop the cultivation of sea buckthorn. How to do it? She approached the local king. I think his name is Nono Sonam Angdui. Yes, that is his name, I presume. I remember. Okay, so he approached him. He was a local king without any much power. So he said, yes, I know about this fruit, and actually it is good, but government doesn't support, and being individuals, we will not be able to do it. I mean, like planting this fruit across Spiti Valley. That involves cost, that involves work. Who will come and work with you? So she took it as a campaign to influence the village women, right? Yes, they said that they are at home, and if they are given some money, they will come and do it. But where will she find the money to give them? She thought innovatively. She found that this sea buckthorn was found to be one of the richest sources of vitamin C. So what could she do with it? Then she thought, why don't we produce juice using this sea buckthorn? She understood, she planned it, and she tried to purchase a machine through a scholarship. She approached a foreign agency. She was able to convince them, and she was able to get a machine worth around 10 lakh rupees, wherein she can use this sea buckthorn to convert that into a fresh juice. She branded it as Shering, right? And that juice was the precursor of the present day HPMC fresh juices that you can see in most of the railway stations. If you go to any big railway stations like Mumbai railway station, Chennai railway station, and most of the railway stations in Chennai, you can find this Himachal Pradesh Corporation's fresh juices. You can get apple juice, orange juice just for 10 rupees. Is it possible to get 10 rupees fresh juice for 10 rupees? It is possible with Himachal Pradesh Corporation, small, steel huts. It is there in most of the bigger railway stations. So it is from there, it moved to the present stage of railway station based fresh juice sale across India. She made that possible. So she made a business out of an innovative plan, and the innovative plan was mainly to hold the soil to the surface of the valley, which will stop them from getting landslides, wherein they can have a happy life and an economically prosperous life. Yes, when this was done, she was happy. Suddenly another problem arose. What is that? What could be that? Any suggestion? Any suggestion?
Sir, could you please repeat the question? I did not get it.
Yeah. See, she understood that Spiti requires an activity to stop soil erosion. When that is stopped, there will not be landslides. When landslides aren't there, people will have a happy life and they can concentrate more on their economic life. For that, she developed sea buckthorns plantation, and for cultivating sea buckthorns, she wanted a business model wherein she can convert this sea buckthorns into juice and then sell it across. When she was able to get a machine from an NGO abroad, and then she made this juice and sold it through her own outlets called as Sering. It's a brand developed by Spiti Ecosphere. Slowly this sea buckthorn was replaced by orange, apple and other varieties, which she plants it at Spiti Ecosphere, and that is sold across many huge railway stations in India under the brand Himachal Pradesh Corporation. You can see it elsewhere you go, right? So this was how she stopped the landslides. This was how she made the people work for their economic prosperity. This was how she stopped the landslides in the Spiti Valley. When this happened, because of this activity, it attracted a problem as well. And what it is? Can somebody suggest?
So maybe because of maybe it would have attracted tourists to that place because the place was getting popular at that time.
Exactly. I should give you good applause. That is what exactly happened. People started understanding what this Spiti Valley is and how does it do this. So they started coming to Spiti Valley. When tourists start coming to Spiti Valley, what will happen? Naturally, her experience with Gangotri, they spoil the environment. They come, they reside, they look, they enjoy, and they spoil the environment. A lot of travel agencies, a lot of tourist agencies started coming to Spiti Valley. A lot of international tourists started coming in. Became a huge problem. Relate to that societal network problem started coming in. How to solve it? You know how she solved it? Any idea? Any idea?
No, sir.
You can think. You can be wrong also. It's fine.
Participants, if you have your answers, you can unmute and answer. Participants.
It's a fantastic social innovation. You can think.
Maybe she arranged for a place of residence for those outside Spiti and not actually in Spiti. Means there was no residential place like for tourists to live in Spiti actually. Rather they would have to live at the outskirts. I'm not sure.
Exactly. See, I'm happy that you people are able to get into what actually I wanted you to come to. I should be happy about it, right? Thank you. And to an extent, this is right. But exactly what she did was she started a concept called as homestays. The name will help you to understand what she actually did. She wanted more tourists to come to Spiti, but they should not harm the environment. They should not spoil the ecosystem. Instead, they should support the ecosystem. What to do for that? She started a concept called as homestays, wherein she attracted tourists abroad and India through various social media. They can come to Spiti, they can reside along the tribes in their own homes. And she offered this stay as a package, wherein if they stay for a month or a week, they will live the life of the tribes. The tribes there at Spiti Valley will not harm the environment. It is their land. They do their economic activity and they conserve it. Okay, if the tourists who come to that place live along with the tribes in their own homes, won't they learn their logic of conserving the habitat? Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
They did that, and it made a popular tourist spot, and tourists across the globe came, stayed along with the tribes there at Spiti Valley, learned their culture, they promoted the culture, they donated for their well-being, and it transformed into Spiti ecosphere, right? And I should also be telling you this. What do you understand by mineral water? And can you, are we accessible to get mineral water here in Chennai or elsewhere? What do you mean by mineral water? Anybody?
Actually, I think there is no mineral water. It is reverse water. It means reverse osmosis.
Yeah. Then where can we get mineral water?
So beside the springs, like where the actual waterfall is there, on the hills where there is no form of impurity.
Exactly.
And the water.
Exactly. See, many years back, when the present packaged water was sold as mineral water, few people filed a suit saying that these cannot be called as mineral water because actually they remove the minerals. So mineral water is one that is not altered and that is given as it is there, how it is there in its basin, right? So normally we call mineral water, we call them if they are taken in any place where they are not changed, they are not they are not processed further. Similarly,
in the natural form, maybe, sir.
Yes.
In the crudest form, maybe.
Yes. You should not change its structure. You have a lot of mineral waters in the market, but they are priced heavily. A liter is priced at 100 rupees, 150 rupees, right? So Spiti is one place where you get mineral water priced heavily, but people buy it happily. Imagine they come and stay with the residents of Spiti. Won't they be happy to purchase this mineral but paying the full price? Won't they promote this brand elsewhere? She did that, right? 1 minute. Can you see this picture? Go local, buy local, and what they do. Presently, Spiti Valley is known for ecotourism, natural conservation policies that does advocacy with the governments to replicate its model elsewhere worldwide, right? I have a video to play on this. Please watch. See, in this video, at some places, there will not be audio. Audio will be cut. I'm not able to get a better video. So please bear with it. Just see what it is, okay? It explains about the Spiti Valley. One minute, takes time. Sorry, please wait. It takes time. Yeah, sorry, I was logged off. On. Is it visible? Is the video visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible only.
The first thing that comes to mind when I think of Spiti is remoteness, its isolation.
At some places,
the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Spiti's remoteness, its isolation, 7-month-long winter. It's a tough place to be in. The objective for us is to showcase Spiti to people in a way where they can understand what Spiti is about, what the culture is about, what people are about. What are the issues that people face?
Small things that we take for granted in big cities like electricity, telephone connectivity, even geyser, hot water, it's so difficult to find here. We try and link the travelers that come with us to the development work or to the conservation work directly and indirectly. This is a nunnery and we're helping them to build a greenhouse. There's no access to vegetables, and in the winter months, the entire valley is just covered with snow. So there's absolutely no way that anything can grow out here. So in these greenhouses, we can grow vegetables till about -20 degrees. So this basically provides them with a year-round supply of vegetables.
My name is Yash. I'm currently in class 12th, and I'm from the Scindia school. Till now, my experience has been great. I should say, actually, hats off to those people who stay here, because we get to know what it is to stay in a place where the conditions are so harsh.
In some places, video will not be there. It will resume.
Really nice staying in homestays, local communities, learning how the people live with very little.
इको टूरिज्म से लोगों का जो आय का साधन है वो उस वजह से बढ़ गया है। सिर्फ डिफरेंट लोग क्रॉस पर नहीं है, अब टूरिज्म से भी काफी कमा रहे हैं। कुशवेट ने जब अपना काम शुरू किया विकास का, तो उसके बाद यहाँ पर काफी बदलाव देखा हमने, और विंटर स्नोफॉल की वजह से सारे वायर कटअप हो जाते हैं तो लाइट नहीं मिल पाता है। तो ये कुशवेट ने यहाँ का जो इंस्टीट्यूशन है, विलेज है, तो वहाँ पर सोलर लाइटिंग सिस्टम लगाया।
देखिए सबसे ऊंचे जगह में है, यहाँ ठंड बहुत होता है, बिल्कुल 12 मंथ ठंडी रहता है, जब बर्फ जमती रहता है। तो ये सोलर होने के बारे में ना थोड़ा ये सोच का प्रयोग कर सकते हैं।
philosophy is incorporating this change in a positive manner. And how travelers and other people who come here, volunteers, whoever it may be, can be a part of that positive change in this region.
I feel very happy that I was part of this entire project now, because it's a very important contribution to the monks and monastery and even villages. I'm glad I'm part of it.
Living Spiti has taught me one thing, that no matter how developed we become in terms of science and technology, you realize that nature is more powerful and you have to live in harmony with it.
Okay, so hope you understand these two illustrations. In the second case, like it was very much interesting to know that how they made the foreigners or the tourists to understand how the tribes live, and they made them support their life. These solar panels were given for free by the foreign visitors, and they presently uphold this economic system, and Spiti is moving a lot. Presently, like, you know, in spite of attracting a lot of tourists, its natural habitat and its virginity is still maintained. Okay, let me explain another idea. Yeah, is the slide visible?
Not yet, sir. 1 minute, sir. Yes, sir, now it's visible, sir.
Yeah, fine, sir. Yeah, this is about a person in Tamil Nadu. He is in Chennai. He is a very close friend of mine, and like, of course, we work very close with him. He is called as Mr. Rangasamy Ilango, and you know, he is known. I mean, Modi, our Prime Minister, knows him. Our chief ministers know him, world over knows him. Okay, he is an Ashoka Fellow. What do you mean by an Ashoka Fellow? Ashoka Fellow is a fellowship that is given by a US firm, most probably for Indians, because that firm is inspired by our King Ashoka, right? So it is called as he is an Ashoka Fellow, and he resides in a village near Chennai. It is called as Kuthambakam. He also he was also a friend of Rajiv Gandhi, and he met him few minutes before he was assassinated, right? And he is a friend of Dr. Abdul Kalam. And you know, our Chief Minister of Delhi, what is his name? Kejriwal. He has acknowledged this person, Rangasamy Ilango, in his book Swadesh, right? So such a famous person, and he's very down to earth, very humble person. Anybody can see him, right? And what is so much special about this person? Any insight? What is so much special about this person? Actually, he studied engineering. Yes.
Sir, as far as I know about him, he quit his job in order to prevent illegal trade of alcohol in a small town of Tamil Nadu, and moreover, he made his village a place where twin houses were built, and he made sure that in one of the houses a Dalit used to live, and just beside it a non-Dalit resident should live, in order to understand the ways and what were the problems and of the Dalit individuals. So he is one of the prominent Dalit who led to the upliftment of the entire community in his own ways.
Yeah. That was one of his promotional methods. Like, he is known for a concept called as Panchayat Academy. And for that he was given Ashoka Fellowship. And of course, as you suggested, he made, of course, around 20-30 years back, there was huge casteism practiced in most of the villages. Now, what he did was, he is a nuclear scientist. He studied engineering and did his master's at IIT Madras, right? And post his qualification, he is also a colleague. I mean, he's also a colleague of Dr. Abdul Kalam. He worked with him. And when he was there as a nuclear scientist with ISRO, he thought like that is not of so much interest to him, and he has to come back to his village and serve the village. Now, what is to be done there in the village with an engineering qualification? and having worked as a nuclear scientist at ISRO, he thought like instead of like he wanted all the people in the village to live together. How is it possible? There was complete casteism. He spoke to them individually and he made them live together within their own boundaries. By this, I don't mean that there were variations in the layer of caste, but he made them move with each other, with maintaining their own differences. People were ready to do that. And that was the precursor based on which in many villages government implemented this concept. Okay, he is the man behind this Samatvapuram. After discussing with him, Kalaignar introduced Samatvapuram. Right? These things are fine. He also came up with an idea of developing a local economy. What do you mean by local economy? When I met him, he told me that, sir, like in our village, we are good producers of mangoes. We are good producers of rice. Fine. It's good. We are happy about it. And there is a nearby village. They produce good quality coconuts. They produce good quality oil seeds. Fine. That is also fine. But what is so special in that? Anybody will ask this question. I was also the same, but I also asked him the same question. He said, suppose if you want if you want to get good quality oil, you don't need to pay the money that you have to purchase that oil. You can give the quality product that you have produced in your village and get the product that you would want from the other village. A kind of barter system. I asked, what is so special in that? Instead, you can give money and then purchase. He said, no. If the cost of oil is 100 rupees per liter, and tomorrow if it rises to 150 rupees per liter, you need to pay the extra amount. Whereas if it is done this way, for the same exchange value, you can get for years. He also came out with the concept called as local currency system. Have you ever thought of this local currency system? He's working on that. Of course, our students are also there in that project. It is a confusing concept, but it is a welcome concept worldwide, and many people from across the world come and work with him in developing this concept. He says that he produces local coins. Of course, presently it is produced only in papers. There will be a seal which can be used only across this group of villages, right? He has a system, like if you purchase coconuts, so much coins should be given, and you can purchase these coins from their panchayat office. By paying 100 rupees, you will purchase so much local coins, and you can use these local coins to purchase goods from the nearby villages. Presently, they have stopped the system. They use the system, and presently they have stopped. There are some complications. They are working it, and they are making it. They are improving it. So that once it is complete, they will implement it, and once that is implemented, that model will be replicated across many villages. When this system becomes successful, your product price will not be affected by inflations. What if something happens in another country wherein we don't have any connection at all? Why should we be affected by the price change in another country? We have our own production. We have our own local currency. Let us exchange it. So the price of products will not change at all for many years. This is a very good concept called as local currency, and that is being worked there at Kuthambakam. Okay, and presently he also supplies raw materials for Saravana Stores and most other companies. He produces burners, which is a pure social enterprise. That is a big story. I don't have time to discuss on that. Now let me play. And am I clear about the innovations that he has made? He has made the village as a production unit. He has made the village a local economic system. Can you understand the social innovation he has made? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me play a video on that, please.
My father was a defense service person, so I had a good house and all the facilities, but the entire hamlet where I lived, it was totally full of poverty. When I have grown and I started yearning, it was really putting pressure in my mind what to do, whether I have to continue in my government job as a researcher or as a scientist, or I have to go back to my village and start something for addressing the social issues. Interestingly, I happened to work with Kundrakundi Adigalar. Adigalar was a very revolutionary saint. He told, if you're really having a concern on this country, have the concern on villages. Try to do something on your village, prove it. Like that, more and more such activities happening in more and more villages, that will make a terrific change for this country. That point was the turning point for me. I quit the job and came back to this village. Originally, 700 years back, the village itself was the growing field. The village itself was the value addition field, which was giving employment for a major portion of the village community. When the tomato was grown, then it was made as chutney in the village. Cotton was grown in the villages. It became a thread and it became cloth in the village itself. Village itself was the market. The people, they come from outside. Sometimes they exchange their product to the village and they took the value-added product from the village. Whereas in this now, the value addition process was taken away from the village people. Now the village people, they grow, they struggle to sell. There's a huge demand, but the demand is in the market. The market is totally exploiting the village economy. In the village, they are very much attracted by the consumer products, which is not at all required for the people. But when he is doing in the name of style or beautifying or whatever, so why can't I? So they need more money. So automatically they started finding their own illicit way of living. Like they try to rob the sand in the village, they try to rob the wood and sell in the village, that sort of illicit activities. So what I am trying is value addition of the village producers within the village. We can create a very good employment model, which will be a very sustainable one, and which may not be affected much because of the fluctuation in the market or anything, because this economy is a local land-based, local demand-based, local skill-based. And interesting part is that after meeting the local demand, certainly they produce surplus. That will be made available for the nearest towns. When I tried to bring this, that was the time exactly this new Panchayat Raj system came. Using Panchayat as a local self-government and with the people's participation, I thought of making this Panchayat as a role model for sustainable growth. First, my strength was I was the Panchayat leader. I earned their confidence. Now, they were suffering for a road. The road was given. They were suffering for a better school. That school was given. Now we are running a mini modern rice mill. So a group of people can buy the paddy from the farmers and do the value addition. Then the rice is there, which is cheaper than the market. So naturally, whatever is produced in the rice mill is sold out. Tur dal, coconut oil, soap. These are some of the local items we produce. We produce a variety of products like energy saving burners, then first aid kits. We make a variety of building materials like micro concrete tiles, ferro cement tiles, paver blocks, like that, lot of concrete products. Now the village people started earning, but the scale of operation is again a question. For that reason, I am running a program called Panchayat Academy. This Panchayat Academy is networking aspiring Panchayat to share the good practices among them. So before 2016, I see that at least 10,000 villages in India could roll, which will re-establish a strong village-based economy and a strong India through this.
Yeah, so hope these examples should have given you an understanding of what social innovation is all about. Okay, I thought of explaining you one more, giving you one more illustration, matching the leads that I mentioned. Yeah. Hope I have time to do so. I mean, haven't I?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. 1 minute. Yeah. Have you heard about this group? These 3 people called as No Food Waste Group. Has anybody knew about these 3 people? And do you know what they did? Any idea?
Sir, maybe they are the ones who manage the unused food, like as in we order a lot and sometimes we don't even touch, or we don't even touch a lot of food and leftover is left. So what they do is maybe they distribute it to those people who are hungry and who actually need that food. So this is what I remember.
Exactly. So keeping this concept, few of our students last year worked on a project, bringing in waste, extra produced biryani and then redistributing it at a lower price in slums, wherein these people get untouched biryani that are only overproduced for a lower price. Otherwise, they might take something else or they may not take anything else. And it is also a profit for the company that has produced that extra biryani. So we have done that project last year and that was a successful one. Now coming to this idea, 3 friends, they were all engineering students there at Government College of Engineering, Government College of Technology, Coimbatore. They were, that's what one of the person that one who is on the right extreme, left extreme, he is a friend of mine. We used to come to our department, right? Now when they went to a marriage function while in college, they saw a lot of food being wasted. Then they thought in their hostel room, why don't we find an organization wherein this waste food can be used? And that is the point where they started their company called as No Food Waste. Now they actually started in Coimbatore and presently it has pan-India operations. And they are an incubator there at IIM Bangalore. See the growth they have had. Okay. Now they have brought in a lot of innovative systems. They have an app. They have location-based information system. Suppose you produce food. Suppose you have a function, and maybe some 10% of food that you have produced goes waste. Instead of dumping it as a waste, you can inform them, and they have their own recovery van which will come and get the extra food. And before 1 hour, it will be taken to place where people actually require food. And presently they only give it for free. They don't sell. Right? This way, they solve the problem of hunger. Right? You imagine the societal setup. Because of hunger, the rhythm gets broken. The rhythm gets affected. They solve it by this method. And innovatively, they came with a concept called as ATM. Do you know what is food ATM? It is very much interesting. See, they started this in Coimbatore. Of course, in Chennai also they have this no food waste branches. They get information from various people who require food. They also get information from various sources where there is excess food. They match it. If not, the food will become waste. Right? So, this innovative ATM concept is such, they have kept fridge in various key points. And anybody who has excess food can come and store this food in those fridges. And people who need food can go there, open that fridge and then get that, like how you get money from an ATM machine. It is called as food ATM. Is it not very much interesting note? Is it not an innovative concept? 1 minute. So this is their pickup van which comes and gets extra food, and from there they go to various places. They say that before 1 hour they will be able to distribute the food, because this is food will become rotten. You cannot use it continuously. No, you cannot use it for a long time. So within 1 hour, they find, that means they have a geographical position system. They have the complete information about the place where food is required. So they match this, right? And this is their innovative ATM for food and beverage. Can you see this? This is the advertisement. This is the exact picture, right? So I don't have a video to play, and of course time is also there. It is also lagging. So yeah. So we discussed about solving social issues based on community, conservation, livelihood, and hunger. And of course, I explained you each illustration based on this lead, and hope this would have given you some insight about what social innovation is all about and how it is being done, and the scope that you as researchers or students might have to innovate for the societal well-being, right? With this note, let me open this forum floor for question and action, right? Please.
Yes, sir. Participants, you have any questions, please. Participants, any questions? Okay. So if no questions, can we move on, sir?
Yeah, there are questions. I presume that it is clear. Hope we could get more social innovators from this group. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your remarkable presentation. And yes, Mr. Amitav Das has raised his hand. Yes, sir.
Please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for such a great presentation, sir. We are just awestruck, sir. So we people, I don't know about the other people, but we people, we are just taught from our childhood to start earning a livelihood as soon as we complete our education, sir. And we are just so much engaged in our own selves, in our own gain and loss and all those things, sir. Sir, I think all these techniques that you have told us, these are just taken by the individuals, not as a community, sir. So is there any need to change all the system that we gain from education, that we all have to think about that as a community, that we can't live without thinking about others, sir?
Yes, yes. Thanks for your question, and it is an important query. Even last week, I was discussing with my department faculty, with my HOD and a few more people. Of course, we do close work with the TISS Mumbai. That is what we are. We have taken a pledge that we would share this concept to the maximum people across India. And as of now, the social innovation isn't so much developed in India, right? And we are trying to make it as a culture, as a habit, wherein people should understand that their development should in no way affect the life or well-being of anybody else. If that logic is there, whatever you do would be a social innovation, because you need to develop. At the same time, that should not affect others' well-being. If that is the case, whatever you do is a social innovation. So that should be developed as a culture. That is what we are doing presently, right? And maybe like, for the past, during the past 10-15 years, the number of social innovators in India are slowly increasing. People understand the concept, and maybe like, and the definition of innovation, if you go through the definition of innovation 50 years back, is not the one that is presently there. So it is also marching towards social innovation. Your welfare should not affect the well-being of others.
So even, sir, the capitalist market is also thinking about, because without social innovation, without thinking about others, the capitalist market also not grow, sir.
Obviously, presently we again start thinking about organic foods. Why? Because Organic foods are, the productivity is also more organic production foods. Whereas initially when we resorted to pesticides, that wasn't the thought. We thought we'll get more produce. Now we say through organic production you get more produce. So we slowly resort to the natural way of living, which is otherwise good as well. Have I answered, Amit?
Yes, yes, sir. Gratitude, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Anybody else?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that remarkable presentation. We really loved your presentation, sir. Thank you so much. Our next speaker will be Dr. K.R. Soundarya.